Going to begin the planning meeting for tomorrow's operational period, both day and night, Tuesday, October 6th. I'm going to ask that you turn off your radios, your cell phones, hold off any side conversations. We're going to begin tonight with an operations update from Operations Section Chief Jake Cagle.
Good evening, all. Very successful day today. We'll go ahead and start over in Oscar. Working down towards the Pinstocks. The fire itself continued to back very nicely, setting us up for success for tomorrow or tonight for the firing. We're just going to be laying a little bit of fire down on the ground with a hot shot crew just to protect that infrastructure and the Pinstocks there, just to keep the bulk of the heat off of the Pinstocks there. So we'll be focusing on that tonight. Over in Mike, again, very successful. They were able to cut in again into the spot, the 100-acre spot, and work that spot, taking a lot of heat out as well as the flank as well, finding different access points where they did run out of room just due to the steepness on that flank. They were able to go into the black and then re-access it with heavy equipment as well as crews. Our contingency plans continue to go forth on Mill as well as Bald Eagle Ridge. So we have an alternative on Bald Eagle. And then a little bit to the east of that, we're doing the contingency line off of Mill that comes up off of Bucks Lake. So they continue to do that, and we're making really good progress there. Over in Alphabet Soup and around down into the south side, everything remained in its current footprint, and they continue to mop up that area. Everything looks really good. And to report.
And given that operational update, we will look towards our incident objectives, ask our incident commander if they remain valid for the next operational period. And I'm receiving an answer in the affirmative from Incident Commander Jay Kurth. So we'll move on to tomorrow's proposed plans. We'll begin with the weather forecast. Incident Meteorologist Jeff Colton.
Good evening, everyone. Just looked at the relative humidities a few minutes ago. Those are starting to bounce back up after bottoming out today in that 15 to 20% range. The forecast for tomorrow is much the same as today. Be our last day of Groundhog Day. So once we get through tomorrow, we'll start to transition into a little different weather pattern. But we're looking at high temperatures again tomorrow in the 80s in the valleys, 70s up on the ridges, light winds for the most part, transitioning to more of a southwesterly component throughout the day as we start to see the influence of the Pacific systems that'll be approaching later in the week. Wednesday and Thursday, we'll start to see that southwest flow increase in strength, then peaking sometime on Saturday by the time we get there. Everyone's been talking about the rain potential. Yes, there's a chance of rain. But I have 3 different computer models from 3 different countries, all saying 3 different things. So if we go with the Canadian model, we're getting 3.5 inches of rain. And since we have Canadians here, I think that's one we should go with. But if we go with the European model, maybe an inch, inch and a half. And if we go with the American model, we may get skunked. So I have a big spread still between these computer models, so the confidence is still not there. But I do feel confident enough to raise the chance of wetting rains in that 40 to 70% chance range in the Friday, Saturday time frame. The American model is a little bit faster. It's a Friday storm, where the European model and Canadian models are slower, showing more of a Saturday, Sunday type event. So those are the big things coming up. We could have northerly winds as well on the backside of this system as it passes through. So it'll be an exciting weekend for the weather. And that concludes the weather. Any questions?
And for fire behavior analyst Robert Scott.
Thank you, Thomas. So 3 models, I only have 2 coins. So we're not going to flip them. Okay, so changes are afoot. And Jeff and I have spent many an hour on the road discussing at our table, trying to figure out what we got. And what we're thinking about, or what the effect of the fire behavior is going to be, is we're going to see a gradual return to a normal pattern in the fire area, which means starting tomorrow morning, at the beginning, probably near the end of when the burn is coming down here, we're gonna see that southwest flow, that up canyon flow, return to the fire area. That's gonna start up high. We've seen that in the past. Near the end of the day, we just start to see the southwest wind come down, but it's probably gonna start up there later. The folks on Mike, they'll probably see that first. However, the mop-up operation that's been happening up there has progressed nicely. There's no real heat signature showing up there, so things should be good there. The big concern is if the door is closed between where the fire is now and the penstocks. As we transition past today and into tomorrow, we will see modest, or the beginnings of modest humidity recovery, and then we're going to return to what is normally a pattern for this part of the country and this time of year, which is southwest winds during the daytime hours and good humidity recoveries at night. That's what I got. Questions? Thank you.
And our Air Resource Advisor, Paul Corrigan.
Hello. Just in the last hour, the air quality monitor here in Quincy has dipped into the green good category. That's happened 3 days out of the last 50, so breathe easy this evening. Now when we forecast for air quality, it's a 24-hour average, and we're probably not going to be green for 24 hours as soon as we start to see. We got smoke north, south, east, and west, actually. So we got, I would call it a temporary geographical reprieve here, a little island in the sky of good air quality. So enjoy it while we can, but I think we will see at least moderate conditions and some haze again tomorrow. Thank you.
And proposed operational assignments for tomorrow's operational periods. Operations Section Chief Jake Cagle.
So we're going to have a duplication of what we had today. Same effort out there today, tomorrow as we did today. So we'll still be staffing contingency, a large group of heavy equipment through there. Still be staffing Mike, Oscar with the same amount of resources that we have. We've been getting a few crews filtering in, Type 2 crews. We did receive a hot shot crew today that we placed in Oscar. And we continue to get a few bit of rolling stock, some Type 3, Type 6 engines coming in here and there and placing them out in what we're calling alphabet soup. Still staffing a night shift with crews and some rolling stock as well. Main focus and emphasis will be in Oscar again. So we're getting a lot of fills on some of our pending orders, so we'll be able to alleviate that. And of course, a lot of that depends on how the firing goes tonight. Over in the penstocks, if we get that locked off and everything holds in its current footprint, we'll be able to start squashing some of the Type 1 IHC orders that we have. Any questions? End of report.
And for Air Operations, Branch Director Galen Young.
Yeah, good evening. We had a good day today. We got early clear air and we were able to fly most of the day. We had usually have 4 ships up working in the dip operation. Would have put more up, but we only have so much space to fly in there. We did get some good news today. We are getting the Cobra back tomorrow. May only be for a couple operational periods, but we're getting it. We went out over the August complex. Hard to believe, but any questions? Thank you.
And for risk assessment and analysis of tomorrow's proposed incident action plan, Safety Officer Patrick Dotson.
Excuse me, good evening. We ran the raw, which you can see here, highlighted hazards around the entire fire. From the raw and working with both operations and our fire behavior, we created our 215A. While the top 10 have remained for the past couple operational periods, this time just fire behavior actually just moved down, which kind of moved everything back up, while accountability and driving still remain our top priorities. We have safety officers throughout the entire incident providing complete safety coverage. And from our medical team, we have 4 sets of fire line medics, 5 ambulances now, 2 sets of REMs providing complete medical coverage throughout the entire incident as well. Tomorrow we will brief personnel on mission analysis and communications, and that's the end of report. Any questions?
Okay, that is our proposed plan for tomorrow's operational period. We're now going to look for consensus and ask for team support of the plan. This evening, I'd like to begin with information.
Support the plan.
Liaison. Human Resources. Logistics. Finance. Seeking supportive comments from our Resource Advisor, Mr. Stephen Hodges. Thank you, sir. Our Agency Administrator, Chris Carlton. Thank you, sir. And so, for final plan approval and his closing comments, California Interagency Incident Management Team 4's Incident Commander, this is Jay Kurth.
Okay, everybody, I support the plan. Couple thoughts come to mind, and the first off is that as the fire has backed in towards Highway 70 and laterally across towards the penstock at a rate that has been very beneficial to us, that we have the opportunity to get that down and into the corner down there in the river corridor, as well as on the rest of the way down the penstock tonight. And so I'm looking forward to that being finished off with, you know, the firing that they're doing is to make sure that the fire comes across into the penstock area under our terms and not firing over towards the fire. So with that in mind, I have a lot more confidence that we'll make sure that the fire behavior is what we want, and it's to our benefit as also to the benefit of trying to keep the heat off of that infrastructure. So really appreciate that focus, appreciate that patience, and it's really set us up for, I think, a much better opportunity for success. The weather still doesn't excite me, but what does excite me is that we've got across over into getting that blacked in at a rate much faster than we potentially could have, and that gives us the opportunity to get the fuels in there burned down and get the heat out of that corner and off of that slope before the winds potentially come up. So the more burn down time we get in there, and the more opportunity we have to get firefighters in there and take that heat out, the greater our chances are to hold that corner. So excited for that opportunity. I am still well aware of the potential for spots up on top, and we'll have to wait and see what this wind event does to us in terms of testing that stuff. But the light is there, and or at least the light switch is there, and whether the switch turns on the light to see a glimmer down the end of the tunnel, then that's a possibility that I'm seeing. So I'm excited about that. I don't want to overpromise it or anything, but there is a good shot that we'll be in a good position in a couple of days. That being said, like I say, the wind testing is going to be a real challenge, and as we move forward, we'll continue to work with cooperators and others to talk about the levels of evacuation and the road closures and all of that. So we got our fingers crossed, and we'll see where we are with a better prognosis tomorrow. So that's what I have tonight. Thank you very much.
That concludes our planning meeting for tomorrow's operational period. Incident action plan parts are due to our resource unit by 2000 hours. Remember to turn your radios and cell phones back on. Our next scheduled meeting will be tomorrow, 0600, day operational briefing, which we will continue to broadcast over the radio, in addition to all of you fine folks watching on Zoom. We appreciate your attention, and we wish you all a good night.